Hey, what's up, everybody? This is your boy Kenny, and this is my review for the 60th Grammy Anniversary Special. I actually enjoyed this from beginning to end. It was really good. It definitely brought back a lot of memories for me because I definitely, grew up watching the Grammys every year. One, I'm really into music, and definitely music is definitely a big part of my life. So I always look forward to watching the Grammys every year and looking at some of the performances. And I think the Grammys resonate with a lot of us because it's where we see all different genres all come together as one, and we see some great duets. We see great performances, and then we actually get to see some of our favorite artists be awarded for their accomplishments. So I always love the Grammys, and they've been better. There've been some, better years than others, but still, the Grammys, especially if you're into music, is a very, it's pretty much like the mecca of music in a way. But I hope you guys all enjoyed your holiday and you guys enjoyed your Thanksgiving. I know I did. I'm still recuperating, as many of you are as well. So, but before I dive into this review, let me offer my love and condolences to everyone that was affected by the tragedy in Texas as well as Las Vegas, as well as those who are still being affected by the hurricanes Harvey, Irma, Jose, and Maria. If you can give any kind of relief or support to people that were affected by these tragedies, please do so, because we definitely need to be there for one another. Okay, now let me get started. This was a really good anniversary special because the next Grammys that comes on in January, I forgot the actual date. I think it's the 29th of January. I could be wrong. But it's going to be the actual 60th annual Grammy Awards. So they actually, did this anniversary special where they actually showed some of the highlights of the Grammys over the years. Some of the performances, acceptance speeches, some of those moments that are pretty much historic. And the episode was actually hosted by John Legend and Carrie Underwood. Both, John Legend, he has, 10 Grammy wins and 28 nominations. Carrie Underwood has 7 Grammys and 14 noms. So both of these artists are very well familiar with the Grammys, and they actually picked a good pair. And what they did is that they just went through some of the best performances and some of the best moments of the Grammys. Let's see. I mean, because definitely, one thing that they definitely put out is like those opening performances, because those opening performances is everything. They actually, and I have to say for me, some of my favorite opening performances was Prince and Beyonce. I think back in 2004, I think that was the year when she won 5 Grammys for Dangerously in Love. Great performance. Her performance with her and Jay-Z for Drunk in Love is another one. Let's see. Oh yeah, Adele. Opening with Hello, killed it. And I think she won, 6 Grammys that night. Oh, yes. This one was a historic opener. The Spinners doing Mighty Love. I actually watched that on YouTube a few times. I mean, Philip Wynn did his thing when they were doing Mighty Love. I mean, it's just something that took over him. They were in the audience shaking hands and everything. And the performance was just amazing. I mean, I think that was in 75. And they killed it. And, the Spinners is that group that I think they never won a Grammy, but they definitely, made an imprint on Grammy history. Because I remember, because I actually watched that episode. It was way before I was born, because I was born in '83. But I definitely loved that performance because they really brought a lot of energy. I mean, they had Stevie Jam into them. They had, other artists, like I think John Denver and a few other people was just really getting into the Spinners. singing Mighty Love, and that was definitely a big moment. Also, definitely one of my favorites was Whitney Houston's "I Will Always Love You," and I remember watching that episode. I remember watching the awards that year, and I just was completely captivated by Whitney's grace as well as her talent, and I've always been a big fan of Whitney Houston. Which is also something I want to talk about. They actually did a segment where they talked about, Whitney's passing and how they only had 24 hours to revamp the show and dedicate it to Whitney. And they actually showed that, them talking with LL Cool J, where it was his idea to put the prayer into the opening of his monologue, because he was the host that year. And he said it was very important that we put a prayer in there because, this was, she was a gem to the music industry, and she was special to all of us, and we should definitely pray for Whitney. And they put it in. And I remember that awards show. It was definitely moving. He was also very emotional for me because I was a big Whitney fan. And also the performance, the dedication performance by Jennifer Hudson, which was beautiful. And they even showed her during the rehearsal, and she was crying while she was singing the song because the executive director told her that, look, do not perform this, sing it for Whitney. And that's what she had in her mind, that I'm singing this for Whitney. And we saw in that rehearsal that she got very emotional while she was performing it. And they also said that people in the audience were emotional as well because, Whitney really did touch so many people in the music industry. She was, as I said, she was a gem, and there'll never be another like her. So rest in peace, Whitney Houston, and yeah, that definitely was a touching moment in this anniversary special that they covered. And they also talked about some of the game-changer performances. One of them was John Legend's "All of Me," because the song, I think at the time, was kind of, he pretty much said that the song was on the charts, but it wasn't doing so well. But after him performing "All of Me" on the Grammys, it went to #1. Also, another game-changer performance was Pink, "Glitter in the Air," when she was doing her because she's a trapeze artist now, and she was literally hanging upside down and was still singing. She's in pitch, and she does this a lot. I just recently saw her do this at the American Music Awards, where she actually performed alongside of the I think it was the Hilton Hotel, and she's literally bouncing up in the air, doing flips, and is still keeping pitch. And there's no one that can do that like Pink. And with Pink doing that, where she was like dripping wet, was spinning, and was still singing, just pure talent, pure monumental talent, hands down. Another game changer, I would have to say this too, was Mary J. Blige performing "No Drama" in 2002. I remember watching that. I remember watching the awards that year. I was completely blown away with Mary because it really was a game changer for her. I mean, "No More Drama" was her, taking a different approach to her life and a different approach to her music. And because we definitely know that Mary was in a dark place when she first came out, and we knew that she struggled. And finally, "No More Drama" was like her testimony. It was like her come to Jesus moment, where she's like, look, I'm going to live and I'm going to be happy. I'm no longer going to be controlled by the negative shit. I'm going to actually, reach for higher and greater possibilities. And we've seen, Mary has definitely been a big staple on the Grammy Awards, especially the Grammy Awards stage. I remember the year where she was nominated, I think, for like 5 or 6 awards, but she ended up winning 3. And she did the song "Be Without You." Love that track. And I liked how she combined it with "Stay With Me, Baby" from The Rose. and she killed it. So definitely Mary J. Blige has definitely made a big staple on the Grammy Award stage. Another game-changer performance, and I remember watching this, is when Kendrick Lamar and Imagine Dragons did a duet together, and it was a perfect combination. You know, you had hip-hop and rock going hand in hand, and the performance was mind-blowing, and it was amazing. Just great, because I love the Imagine Dragons, and I love Kendrick Lamar. The two of them together just blew me away. And another performance that really blew me away, too, was when Moby and Jill Scott performed, and I believe that was in, I had to say, probably, was that maybe 98, 99, or 2000, one of those years. I'm not sure. If y'all know, correct me in the comments. Definitely like to hear from you guys. But when Jill Scott and Moby performed, that was a mind-blowing thing for me, because these were artists that were in totally different worlds, but yet they came together and did something beautiful. And that's one thing I love when I watch the Grammys, is when I see different genres come together to make beautiful music. Another one was when Rihanna had performed with Paul McCartney, and like, that was like mind-blowing to me as well. Some of those performances, just resonate with us because they definitely leave an imprint. Also a definite game changer, and I remember watching this, and all of you will agree with me on this one, is when Ricky Martin took the Grammy stage in 1999 when he did La Copa de la Vida. Yo, most people in the audience didn't even know who Ricky Martin was at that time. I knew who he was because, I followed him in Menudo. So I definitely, and I watched a lot of VH1, so I definitely knew who Ricky Martin was. And I definitely heard, La Copa de la Vida before. So when he took the Grammy stage, he slayed it. And I remember watching it, I was completely just like, oh my God. And you saw everyone in the audience, and I was just like, wow. I saw at that moment, I told myself, Ricky Martin's going to be a big star. And he literally became a pop phenomenon after that performance. And even won a Latin Grammy that night. But he killed that performance. And that just goes to show you that the Grammys can be a game changer to some artists, because most people in that audience didn't even know who he was, but you knew who Ricky Martin was after that performance was over, because he got a standing ovation, and that's a moment of the Grammys that I personally will never forget, because I remember watching that, and I was just glued to my TV like, wow, because it was just, definitely very special. Let's see, what another thing I want to talk about? Oh yeah, and then definitely another one of my favorite performances was when Justin Timberlake, he was actually supposed to have been performing Dead and Gone with T.I., but he actually told the story that when it came down to crunch time, they actually removed him and T.I.'s song because they had to cut it due to time constraints. So Justin asked who was performing, so he went through all the performances and he saw Al Green. So he was like, okay, I got an idea. He's like, if I can reach out to Al Green and, we can actually do like this really big duet, a really big performance, with the Reverend. And we actually saw that Keith Urban was also involved, and Keith Urban had utmost respect for Al Green. And another group was Poised to Men. And when all of them combined and did that performance, was just mind-blowing. And it just showed that Al Green is the Reverend, and when the Reverend is ready, yes, the Reverend will call your attention, and he delivered. And it was great seeing all of these different genres all come together. Like you had pretty much the group Boyz II Men, you had the Reverend Al Green, you had the country superstar Keith Urban, and then you had the pop star Justin Timberlake, all come together to create beautiful music. one of the reasons why we watch the Grammys. Definitely a great one. And also another one that I definitely liked, because I also like some country music as well. I liked it in 2012 when they actually did a tribute to Glen Campbell, like a rhinestone cowboy. Yes. And you had Blake Shelton, who was up there, and then you had a few other artists come up, and but him and Glen Campbell really did their thing on stage, and I was here for it. Because I do like some country music. I mean, I like all different genres of music. So it was good seeing Glen Campbell and Blake Shelton do their thing. It was really a special moment. And definitely they talked about, the teen sensations of Miley Cyrus and Taylor Swift when they did that duet in 2009. That was definitely a big moment. Let's see, what else we got? Oh, yes, in the Beatles tribute in 2014, that was everything. Paul McCartney was singing Hey Jude, and, definitely one of my favorite songs from him. And, Keith Urban was involved in that performance as well as many others. And also, Keith Urban actually talks about when he performed with B.B. King, and B.B. King handed him Lucille to play. And he said that to him is a moment he will never forget, that this blues legend actually handed him Lucille, and he let him play Lucille. And we've never seen B.B. King do that ever. So when he did that, that was everything, because he pretty much said that, yeah, you get it. So I'm going to pass my baby, because I know you'll treat my baby right. Very, very, very moving moment. And then also, they even talked about some of the tribute performances, like when Usher did the tribute performance to James Brown and actually performed on stage with him in 2005. Very big moment. They also talked about Elton John, because Elton John performed with so many different acts. And Elton John likes that, because he says that, a lot of these people I would have never worked with, but the Grammys is a time where I can actually work with some of these artists who I'm a fan of, who I love their music, and it's a chance for me to actually perform with artists that I never would work with. So he likes the Grammys because he gets to interact with different artists. And definitely some of the standout performances that he's done, as far as duet performances, was definitely the one with Eminem, because Eminem was getting a lot of flack from the gay community because of his lyrics on his album. And, Elton John said, I listened to his whole album, and his album was not homophobic at all, but he was just speaking reality and speaking the language that they speak in the hood. So, or the language that people use in everyday life. I wouldn't even just say the hood, because the way that he spoke is the way that a lot of people speak. So he identified with where Eminem was coming from. So it blew everybody's mind when Eminem and Elton John performed together. I, for one, was definitely here for it, because I've always been a fan of Eminem, and even me being a gay man, I never thought he was homophobic either. So definitely, him performing with Elton John definitely shut up a lot of the haters, because it showed to him that he embraces gay people, he embraces everybody, and that his artistic expression his artistic expression is what it is. I mean, it was him expressing his art and how he sees the world through his eyes. And it was great that Elton John had his back, and he said that I'm still a fan of his, and they still to this day are lifelong friends. Also, his performance with Lady Gaga, which was definitely awesome, because definitely we see. I definitely see some that definitely Elton John in his career has definitely made an impact on Gaga and hers. So it was great seeing the two of them come together. Another big performance was when they did the tribute to the Four Tops back in 2009. That was awesome. But then also when Beyonce and Tina Turner took the stage in 2008, I got my life, because Beyonce pretty much said that Tina Turner was her idol. And we definitely can see Tina Turner and Beyonce throughout a lot of her performances. We can definitely tell that Tina Turner was a big influence on Beyonce, because Beyonce, the way she dances, the way she moves, you know, the way that she likes, and you know, the way that she gives off her energy, you can definitely tell that, yeah, Tina Turner has made an impact on Beyonce's life. So it was great when the two of them performed together, and even Tina in her 80s was still fierce and can still keep up with Beyonce. Classic. Downright classic. And another one that I want to talk about is when the ladies of Moulin Rouge, Maya, Little Kim, Christina Aguilera, and Pink did Lady Marmalade, and to put the cherry on top of the cake is when Patti LaBelle came out, shut it down, was hitting those operatic notes, and it just made that performance even greater. And also what topped it off is that they won the Grammy for Best Pop Collaboration. But yes, that Lady Marmalade performance is still one of my favorites, because I definitely remember taping it that year, and I watched it for years on VHS, because I definitely just loved that performance. And you know, it just goes to show that, you know, they literally pay homage to Patti LaBelle, because, you know, LaBelle, that was like one of their biggest hits, and for them to remake it for Moulin Rouge, classic. So let's see, and definitely another big performance was Bruce Springsteen, where he performed Streets of Philadelphia, which was pretty much on the soundtrack of the movie Philadelphia, which was very big in '95, because, you know, we still had the epidemic of AIDS and HIV, which was pretty much the topic of the actual movie, starring Tom Hanks and Denzel Washington. So to actually see him perform that, you know, it really brought a lot of awareness to AIDS and HIV, and it was a very moving performance. Another one when Puccelli and Mary J. Blige did a duet together, that was really big, because, you know, Puccelli is one of the biggest opera stars in the world, and for him to perform with Mary J. Blige, two different genres, but yet came together to make something beautiful. And even me myself, you know, I'm a singer too, and I definitely want to perform at the Grammys one day, because I would love to perform with someone whose music is totally in a different world than mine, but we can come together to create something beautiful for the masses. So that's what I have, y'all. If you guys watch this this anniversary special, put your thoughts down in the comments. I'd like to hear what you guys have to say, and I definitely want to get your feedback. But that's what I have, y'all. But they showed a lot of great performances. It was a lot of great moments. I just shared with you some of the ones I loved, and I definitely like to hear from you too. So subscribe to my channel. Click that bell so you get notifications every time I drop a video. Also, also follow me on my social platforms, as well as my GoFundMe. All those links are in the description box. Also, like this video, comment on this video, and share this video. And I will be back, because I will be reviewing the Grammys, you know, next year in January. So until then, everybody, take care.